I don't know why it's taking so long. Oh, there it goes. Oh,
Okay.
did you do the IGN stuff?
Yes. Wait. Yeah, I did.
Okay, because a couple of them came up as not going live. All right.
Yeah. Got
Oops, and we're live already. It didn't jump in.
Oh, how you doing?
it.
Let's see, here we go. This is crazy how that worked out.
Yeah, I know, right?
And we are on.
And we are live. Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth. The Lindsey Graham Farewell Edition. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops, I made a joke. All right.
Stop cussing at me.
I know. I love it. That was an interesting event today, and they say you shouldn't speak
Ill of the dead.
ill of the dead. Okay, well, okay. For what it's worth, and I didn't mean to start it, I just came out that way, because he was on in front of us. But for what it's worth, I guess Lindsey had a moment that he was realized that he was a person, and then he lost it. At the end of the day, because when he was against Donald Trump, he was an advocate for everybody. And then suddenly he felt like that Trump's underwear smelled better than being an advocate for everybody. And I know.
So when it's all said and done, the truth is going to, I always say when it's all said and done, the truth is going to finally come out. Somebody, the historians, I'm sorry, because I'm all over the place. Historians are going to look back at these times and do some dirty, studying, because this is, even with Lindsey, he's part of the corruption. I'm sorry. He is part of everything that has now gone wrong globally and nationwide with this country.
Yeah.
So he's part of the ills that now that, historians are going to look back and say, well, this person and that person did this and did that. And this is why we are now in conflicting times.
Right.
Lindsey he's not in a safe situation anymore. I don't think he has in a safe situation. He's always been fake to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's a lot going on with that man. I'm gonna tell you, and then we, endeavors of his personal life, but we won't.
That's gonna come out.
Yeah.
That's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Charles. I'm like, somebody's gonna come out and bring out the monster in the closet, because it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
It already has.
With the money's there, I'm gonna come out.
It already has. It already has. There are, what do we call it? Compatibility consorts have come out saying they have spent time with Lindsey on the DL.
Oh.
And there are people who are saying that he paid them to not speak, and he paid them very well.
Wow.
It's weird that when you look at even Tim Scott never had a girlfriend until he tried to run for vice president. Now then he tried to get engaged. Now we haven't heard anything from her again since he didn't get the vice presidency.
Right. Well, I think he got
that looks staged.
He ended up marrying her, but it was like silent.
That's what I'm saying. Was that staged just for our benefit? That we got to see it then. We won't get to see it no more. That's the end of that.
Right.
It's given very lavender.
Yeah, very lavender.
Hey.
Would you think a languishing fragrance?
Yeah.
Something
smells fishy around here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's not lavender.
And we don't claim them. We don't claim them like they don't claim us.
No.
We don't claim the foolishness of people hiding around doing, just crazy things underneath the surface, and then want to claim that there's a gay agenda that is controlling their children. That's one thing. If somebody do come out and say Lindsey Graham was gay, I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't give not one iota. Being a gay man that I am, I don't give a damn. He is still, to be honest with you, another fool, and we don't claim him.
Right.
Nobody. I don't claim that.
Right.
You're gonna be true to yourself, or you can just, stay away. But he decided to stay away, and hey.
And and then that's fine. If he I guess he realized that he could not be the advocate for himself, and be true to himself, during his administration.
Well, he was in the military, wasn't he? Was he a veteran as well, Charles?
You know what? I can't remember that. Let me research that real fast.
He was a veteran.
Yeah, he was. He got decorated.
Was the Air Force?
I'm not sure what branch, but he was decorated for being, in the Army and whatever the branch that it was, and that probably kind of taught him how to keep his life on the low. Because I don't understand why the man never got married. He never got married. Has no children.
He so what the typical hiding in the closet would do.
Yeah,
just make your nieces and nephews, your children, take care of your sister. I don't see nothing wrong with that. But
right.
At the end of the day, that's what most in the closet gay men do. When they can't have a life of their own, they end up being the uncle, the father, and the husband to everybody in the family.
I mean, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And and to believe, trust the artists, we're not advocating this, so this money has to be out of the closet all the time, doing what they're doing. And like that's between them and their creator. If they don't have the comfortability to being who they are, who they need to be. And if they rely upon family and jobs and everything else to dictate their life, okay, there's a lot of other people that need to be doing that too that ain't doing it.
Yeah, he was in the Air Force.
In Air Force, okay.
1982 to 1989. He was an officer.
Okay.
That's why him and John McCain were good friends because of that connection. And even after John McCain died, he dropped John McCain. Once they dropped him in the ground, he dropped their friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to they were not even friends at all, and that their connection to policies never even existed.
Right.
It's just that's the fakery that I don't respect from this man. I mean, he was part of always disrupting what would make America better for the common man.
Right. Unless
it was, what? No, I'm going to be true behind the truth. Unless it was white and going towards whatever that was white, he was for. But it was for the diverse matters. It was always something that he would fight up against, like police reform. Anything that dealt with the Voting Rights Act, he was dead against. And that what gets me about anybody black trying to come up and say, well, Lindsey Graham was a good guy. No, he wasn't. Why would you support anybody that would want to, behind closed doors, take away your rights? As a citizen of this country, why would you come up and say anything of the sort unless it's somebody paying you to say it?
Right.
I mean, that's the only reason why anybody would get up there and say anything nice about anybody that hated them. Right. It's because of money. That's my assumption. That's my hypothesis.
Oh, I get you. And that's why the show tonight is called "Living Life in Reverse."
All right.
Because so much of what is going on, and still is going on in the scope of things, people are living their life in reverse. I mean, it's a very sad state to be, but when you don't realize that you are living your life in reverse because your behaviors, say one thing, in and of itself. So, maybe Lindsey was living his life in reverse. He started out one way and ended up being another at the end. I do want to say that it's really, this is to your point, not to dig into this hypothesis. It's not a hypothesis; it's just a word. That I was looking at the highlights of the funeral service or whatever it was today. Tim Scott did not ask to do anything in that funeral.
He was not relevant.
He was not relevant. Everybody else, I like you, look, Charles.
Are you
Well,
surprised?
I kind of thought that since him and Lindsay were good friends, that they would have asked him to say something. They didn't ask that man.
They were cohorts.
At least for the cameras. Now, he may have been handing out programs, or
Could have been.
he may have been handing out
in the
programs.
kitchen while they were in the pew.
Yeah.
Exactly. And remember, everything's appearance. You can't
Yes.
put Tim Scott in front if we are trying to give this image of total white solidarity.
Yes.
It's just not going to work.
True. I perfectly agree. That's was my thoughts. I was like, wow, where's Tim?
In the kitchen.
Is that like Carmen San Diego?
Yeah.
He was in the kitchen. He was there, and they said you might as well sit in the kitchen and wait on us to come out for a picture op. I mean,
That's right. Tim, bring out that tray of hors d'oeuvres.
That's right.
There you go.
That still goes on to this day. And small conservative circles said, wait a minute. Somebody talked about, or even came over my algorithm about the fact that Black conservatism is on the rise. I said, where? Where is Black conservatism on the rise? Where is it? Because I don't see. I mean, while there are people being ousted,
please define. And can we do this? Maybe each of us, between the three of us, we can define what conservatism is, so that people they don't get that if you are not necessarily Republican based or with a moderate Democrat based or whatever that aspiring allegiance that you have allegiance to, that your conservativeness has to come from a political party. So can you take it, and I'll take the last one, and Charles give his hypothesis and you give yours on what conservative values means?
Okay, so
what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to you, Charles? That's
okay. So let's do it like this.
Okay.
If you look up the definition, it says that conservatism is a cultural, social, and political philosophy and ideology that seeks to promote and preserve traditional institutions, customs, and values. The central tenets of conservatism may vary in relation to the culture and civilization in which it appears. In Western culture, depending on the particular nation and the particular time period, conservative seeks to promote and preserve values of centrist and Christianity. Now, this is the thing to me.
Okay.
To be a conservative means that you want less government. You want less taxes. At least that's what I was brought up thinking. And that our Christian beliefs stand out front of everything you do. That's what I was always brought
key opportunity, but you do, not everybody else, but you do, right?
Exactly. You as a person, individual.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's it. That's what. That's all.
That's it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Take your
just one word. I know what it is. It's based on capitalism.
Okay.
I mean, conservatism is really an economical. It's economically, for me, a capitalistic supporting party system just for the wealthy.
Okay. It used to be less taxes. Yeah. That's what it used to be. Less
but
taxes.
Then they, anything. But you know what? To be honest with you, it's less tax for a certain tax bracket.
Exactly.
Let's just be real about this situation. It's less taxes for a certain tax bracket for a certain class of people. Now, there ain't nothing wrong in taxing the hell out of the working class, and luckily, if you're like upper middle class and can bypass it, that's fine. But no, those people who are of the upper echelon, the affluent, the people who own corporations, those people, that's conservatism because it's tied in with capitalism.
Okay,
it is.
Now I'm gonna step into that just a little bit. Now, I don't give monetary value to conservatism. Okay, I understand the point where you're coming from. In that aspect of that, but I don't think that the majority of what is considered conservative, it really comes from a monetary value. It really comes from a group of people that has this certain belief system that everybody should be in line with that belief system. So what it typically is that you are married with one, the husband and wife, 2.5 kids, the white picket fence. You live in a suburb area, and you don't allow certain people that don't fit your agenda to meet in that. You do not allow your kids to associate with certain status quo people. You certainly don't have friends that are same gender loving friends, because it goes against your principles of your belief systems in terms of the Christian faith. So you don't do that. You don't allow the opportunities, understanding that a woman's own body deserves her own, which falls into the levels of abortion. And the list can go on, and all the list of don'ts and do's and don'ts. But monetarily, I don't think that is right, because you've got a lot of conservatives don't have money.
And
so
what's the reason?
Well, it's just the economic status where they are, their jobs, or maybe where they live. Because you have all, just as you have all black communities, you have all white communities that are very poor and impoverished. We don't
give you what it is. It's the Southern strategy. That's why you have those without money that vote Republican.
No. Well, hold on.
That don't vote Democrat.
Okay. All right. So, but I okay, and then let's go into a little deeper. Charles, you have ideas, or what would be conservative ideas, on the way you govern yourself. There's certain things that you do not do because of your line. That, however, the difference in you doing in the conservative value that you have for yourself is that you're not trying to draw a line in the sand at the same time. You know what I mean? So this is where you see it, but you may not be crossing, but you're not trying to make a rule for what you do, or what that you don't allow yourself to do. I have conservative values, that you can call. That's why I don't aspire to be a Democrat, Republican, piss Republican, Rumble-Dumblegan, Republican, and anything involved. I care about humanities. But if anything, if there's a political party called humanitarian, that would be me. Okay, and so I don't have time to get. Now I fight the aspects of conservatism, because it becomes an imposing thought, and that imposing thought they try to back it up with Christian values, which none of these people know what Christian values are. And we have a video about that a little bit later. But I don't want to keep going. Go ahead, you take it.
No, I'm done with it. Let's go on to the next topic.
Okay. Well, let me share this quick video real quick from Pastor Smith out of Atlanta. He's talking about theology, but how it's right along what we're talking about, but how people's theology formulates these people groups, and then this is where because you have an ideology.
All theology in America is personal. Okay, this is not the Taliban where you got to be forced to have a certain faith. We can read the scriptures in America. We cannot read the scriptures in America. You have the right to faith. So my personal theology, I believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross. But public policy, according to the U.S. Constitution, is something totally different. Whenever public policy is determined by personal theology, the question you got to ask yourself is this: whose theology makes the difference? There are some men right now who believe that according to the Bible, that child marriage is acceptable. There are men who have pedophilia in their hearts with a Bible in their hands. Some would say Joseph was older, Mary was 14. And so across the world, in other regions, other cultures, child marriage is acceptable. And the Bible is used by many in this country to justify men marrying kids. If somebody believes according to their Bible that men can marry a child, do you think that personal theology can be applied to the whole world? And I can go on and like the song says, I can do this for hours. Talk about it for hours. I can do it for hours. Many of us don't realize the biases that we have, and we want religion as long as it's for Christian religion. We want religion as long as it's white Christian nationalism. It's interesting how we have these biases. We only want religion and faith to be over policy when it serves our own political nationalistic agenda. And this is why whenever personal theology is used as the basis of public policy, it's going to always be problematic.
Go ahead, you take what he said.
And just to be honest with you, it's all based on power and control, and religion is that in a nutshell with any and every other religion that comes into play.
Yeah.
It's all based on power and control. And it's so sad that even in this country, people do not see the game that is being played. It's all a form of diversion and separation and dividing and conquering people. But then on top of that, now I just spoke about the homophobic agenda. I mean, not homophobic, but the homosexuality that has an agenda placed on it. Now, what about this Christian agenda now that he was just talking about the fact that you are saying that my gayness on TV is messing with your children's mind. But then you have those in the pulpit that will want a grown man, either whoever, to marry a child that doesn't have the basic mind and the basic skill to understand what the hell they doing. You're talking about a child that don't even vote, that don't even have a driver's license, a child, period. Right. But then you would think that it's best for a man or whoever to marry a child and think that's right. Not only that, but to control a body who has its own autonomy, you would rather do that and think that's just. Right. But that is the situation that we're in this country. We have white men. Because I don't hear too many black men talking about this, but if there are some, you need to point them out. But I know Hegseth is one of them, and his pastor is another one, who is putting this propaganda out about marrying young females, young girls, and impregnating them. And that right there is a problem. Right. That's a problem that needs to be exposed. Now we in Epstein was another situation. This is the situation that needs to be exposed in this country. Right. But then on top of that, who are we so worried about? We're worried about transvestites. We're worried about gay men. We're worried about abortions. We're worried about things that don't make no goddamn sense. But this is making sense because this is evil. Right. I'm just saying this is evil because because what you're promoting is rape with a marriage license.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Charles.
You know what? Please forgive me for what I'm about to say. I've served in the military for almost 8 years. I served this country even though it didn't serve me. But I always believed in the principles, which is the freedom to speak, the freedom to live, the freedom to have my values respected, the freedom to have my own values. But the government or the country is not run by religious fact or my values. But I have the freedom to live my family and my bubble in that fact. That is what I valued about America. And that is what I've seen since I've been around the world. That's why when doing the FIFA, the people from all these other countries came in, they thought they was in heaven. They went to Walmart like, my God, look at all this supplies. It's just wonderful. They were just losing their minds. They thought America was the best. I can go to the street and buy food. They were tripping over hot dog stands and stuff. They thought this, but we're so spoiled. We think that all this is just for granted. We don't realize how good this country can be and how much it is, even though with its flaws, it's still better than a lot of places around this world. And the sad part about it is we want to go. We talk smack about the Iranians doing their religious practices and putting it in the law, but Sharia law, we're basically the same way, just with Christianity.
It's true.
We're trying to make it the same way. The Christianity is leading the country. That's why I respect it, even though they were slave owners and they were misogynists and they were rapists. But the forefathers said separation of church and state was one of the most brilliant things they could have put into the Constitution. Right. It has to be there because too many people had these obscure ideas of what I guess you would call it life should be. Young women under 17, 18 years old, even at 18, 20, are not developmentally to be, how do we say this, in this stratosphere of my spouse or my confidant or my sexual concubine. That is wrong. And that's the same with young men. I told this to my children. Men don't really mature until they're about 30, 35. 30 is really too young, but mostly 35. And I was one of them. I know for a fact. My mindset was all wobbly and all over the place until I reached about 35, 36. And it hit me. And this is not being funny. It was like an epiphany. I even realized, man, what were you thinking about all them years?
Right.
The things you were saying didn't make sense, and the things your purview was skewed. It wasn't where it should have been. But like my dad said, the blessing is being able to wake up and realize where you went wrong.
Well, that's a good point.
But my thing is, I'm sorry for cutting you off, is the fact that if you think a child is able, in your mind, if you were to marry a child, is able to think for itself and to do what is to make mature choices of that nature, to just be in a marriage, then that being said, you should take away off the table the fact of a child taking hormone pills or trying to gender change, the thing, the situation, the situation that y'all like to bring up when it boils down to gender reassignment and all this stuff should be taken off the table, since you're now saying that children are able to now marry grown adults.
Right, you're right.
That now should be just been taken. I'm just saying, because now you're saying that children are mature enough, and it also brings up the situation in the movie The Color Purple. You remember in the scene when Celie was talking to no. What was her name? The lady that came in, Suge Avery, right? And you remember when she was saying, you never had these feelings for Albert. Basically, she knew her as Albert, which was Mr. She said, you don't have these feelings for Albert. She said, no, I just lay there and he just climbs on top of me.
Yeah, it's like It's like you peeing on him.
That's a child. That's a woman in a child's mind, because she only knew of that. She didn't know love.
Right.
Because all of her young life, who was sleeping with her? Her stepdaddy and Mr.
Right.
And she did not know that was a representation, which it was rape. It was rape.
Right.
But in other situations, it would have been considered love.
Right.
She didn't know sex was love. Right. She just thought it was just them doing their business on top of her.
Right.
So that's a child's mind in a situation of that nature. A child cannot comprehend what the heck are you doing to me?
Right. Absolutely. That's a very, very good and a great movie. If you want to debate what we're talking about, go watch The Color Purple. Just watch The Color Purple. You will get a great understanding of what we're talking about at this particular point in time. Child rape, child being put in a position, child being taken advantage of. And Celie wasn't. I don't even think Celie was 12 when she first started. That man started having sex with her. Because he was raising her from somebody. Her mama married him, from some other situation, and she got forced into a situation that to having children by that man at that age. Really? Come on now.
Selling the children off to the pastor.
Right, selling them off. So the I know we kind of got a little different, deviated from what was conservatism, but it's all part of the same, because this same conversation we're having now is going on right now in American society, and they're doing their best to try to plan for it. Your president is trying to set that up, along with his cronies, is trying to set that type of thing up in society, that young girls at 14 can get married to an old ass man and start breeding for him. Okay, that's just call it what it is.
Because you got to remember too that there's a physical and a scientific dynamic that's still warped. An older man, his sperm is not as fertile and vital as it usually is when he's 19 through maybe 35, 40. The older he gets, the less it has the potency, and the DNA, the structure change. So now you have an old man having a baby, autistic. There's going to be deficiency mentally, physically. There are all these challenges. It's just like with a woman having babies at an older age. You lose the vitality of the reproductive purpose, so to speak. So when you're doing those things, you're not making it vital. You're making it selfish.
Right. Absolutely. And the pregnancy, in my opinion, is just a byproduct of the nasty pleasure that these men are trying to get from this type of indulgence. You know what I mean?
Misogynistic.
Yeah, exactly. So and then it's, I don't know. You know what? I mean, I could get it out because it'll keep our conversation going a little bit further.
That's what made America great again, basically.
Oh yeah,
that's what made America great again, and that's why they indulged in slavery.
Yeah,
it was so easy for the master, the overseer, to go into them cabins and rape and molest children and women, boys and girls, because it was.
And then men in some instances.
What'd you say, Charles?
Men in some instances.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is how we came to be, because we are not we are mixed with everything in this country. That's why I always say the Black experience is a fragile experience. The experimentation they did in slavery was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not not pure blood Africans. Well, nobody is, but we're not purely from Africa because we got so much crap mixed into us.
But you got to remember, Africa is the mother of the universe. Everything started from Africa. So no matter what happens, Africa is always going to be there. Now, there are going to be different stages, different mutations, so to speak, but you are always going to be originally from Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't endorse the FBA. I mean, I know I'm an American. Don't get me wrong, and I know where my ancestors have come from. But I don't invite that type of right wing diversion of the. I call them the Black Heritage Movement. The Black. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to get at. They ain't nothing but really nothing to. They're not really doing too much of anything for our community at all to even uplift them. So we don't condone in that craziness. I'm sorry.
No, not in the least form. But anyway, so let's move on. You had what was it? You had about Nolan.
Nolan Wells.
Nolan Wells. You just wanted to quote her what she was saying about him?
No, I wanted to mention something. Okay. We haven't really discussed anything about the Nolan Wells case, but I do want to bring up something that is something to think about. When you hear people talk about the importance of community, because we just talked a little about it not too long ago, but the importance of community is so important, especially within the Black experience. Now, this woman right here, her name is Janetta Brantley. That's her name, Janetta Brantley. And she is an audio engineer. And I want to tip my hat to this Black woman because let me tell you what this woman just did. This woman took an audio from the CETO 911 tape. And what she did, unlike those people, those officials, those people who are supposed to be doing their work, supposed to be bringing out evidence and making sure that the evidence is sound. Those people that we pay our tax dollars to, she did their work. She did their homework. And they should be probably in their own little, racist mind, be thanking her. And as well as the Black community needs to be thanking this woman too, because what she did, she took it upon herself to clear up an audio that has now turned the case around. So, as much as I would love to hear, people say, well, what's the importance of community? This is the importance of community. This is what we had to do when there was nobody protecting us during segregation, during Jim Crow. When things were not, and when we were not protected federally, about a federal court, about a federal anything, this is what we had to do, rely on each other. Emmett Till, the Montgomery bus boycott, community was there. She is community, and I will give her her crown because this is what it's all about. Her name is Janetta Brantley, and I want y'all to go look up that audio too.
All right,
so go ahead, Charles.
The technical parts of this, so we understand not that a lot of people say, "Oh, she went in and she AI'd it." She used no AI.
No, she didn't.
She used only the filters, like doing the music. She went in and grabbed individual pieces and amplified them so that they can be heard. She took it clean as possible, erased all sound dampening so that you get all the air and all that extra stuff out of each of the tracks and made them enhanceable so that you could hear them. This is what usually the FBI does and the CIA in order to do their investigations. But of course, it's a Black guy. Nobody's going to go that deep on that stuff for them. But then now, if this had been a white kid, we'd have had everything sitting in front of us. They used every technological piece they could use. But she did it as clean as possible without altering or adding. Only thing she did was erase a lot of noise, the sound dampening, elevated certain audio louder so that you can hear it. And when you go through it, you hear them saying, I think it was, they were screaming at him, wake up, wake up. And he wasn't waking up. And then somebody said, I think he's dead. And they go, stop it. And then they make the phone call to the people to come tow the boat. But they, according to the forensics, from the two different pathologists, there's bruising on the back of the head.
Right.
No one knows why that is, but now the judge and down there in the state has closed it off. They don't want it out there, which I understand.
As usual.
I can't. Yeah, that's a normal procedure because if you let it go to the public too much, you lose control of it. So you have to kind of rein it in. So I get that part, but we're not being open. Yeah, we're not being as because, yeah, we're not being as open and as transparent as we should be because that's always the case. Just like the kid, I forget his name, that they arrested. They're only 10 miles away. They had a white guy beating up cops, punching them, chasing them down, knocking them on the ground. But yet this young black kid had 5 cops on top of him. They pull out their gun and shot him in the back of the head. Now, when did black people become so strong that you can't subdue them the same way they did the white guy?
It's deja vu all over again. Yeah. But I also want to say this before you say anything. Mississippi doing what it does best, covering up. Think about the story of Emmett Till. Remember before they shipped Emmett Till's body back to Chicago, what did they try to do? They tried to bury the body. Yeah. Mammy Till got on that phone and got in touch with officials in Chicago as well as some people out there in Mississippi, and she got that body back. What they tried to also do, they tried to say, well, if that casket was open, even if there was anything was seen, if the body was seen, there would be issues, there would be problems. Right. But this is the situation that's happening now with Nolan Wells, because this is still where it has always been Mississippi's situation of doing what it does best, covering up crimes of black homicides, basically.
Brett Favre had money taken out of the welfare, the food stamps, to pay him to make his daughter's school prominent because she had a softball career. Millions. Wow. And then the government had the nerve to say, well, that they were discretionary funds. No, they weren't. When did the food stamp allotment money become discretionary?
That good old boy system works just like that in the South. That is the good old boy system doing what it's always been doing and what it's now been doing for a very long time, keeping the black oppressed and also keeping poor whites oppressed with that narrative of, you're still, if you ain't black, you're still white and you still can be over and be better. But the saddest thing about it is who's winning really in this situation? The rich, the affluent, the judges, the governor, the politicians that run that state, that takes money away from welfare programs. Mm-hmm. And in this situation with Nolan Wells, you have a judge, you have a sheriff, you have a certain politician. Now the governor is involved in it, that's now covering it up too as well to keep this from going as global as it has been going. But it's not working in their favor, which has never historically been working in Mississippi's favor. That's why I always go back to Mississippi Goddamn from Nina Simone. If you really want to hear the truth, go listen to that song, Mississippi Goddamn, because that is the truth.com. Go ahead. I'm done.
I'm done. You really, I think one of the major things, you brought a lot of light, and this is going to be a continued effort, on everybody's part that wants to participate and to find out the truth behind the truth of this young man's transition. Mm-hmm. And it's a very unfortunate time, but, as the title of the show, Living Life in Reverse, but I want to take a pause at that point and saying Living Life in Reverse. I want to put a little light back on him as being the catalyst of the angel of the hour. Okay, to start a conversation about something that needs to be said all along, and addressing an issue that should have been addressed all along. And it shouldn't take a death of a seemingly brilliant young and handsome young man to lose his life to springboard a right conversation, but it did. And it's doing, and he will in transition get the victory in another way, So we wish we send him off once again, to a place of complete rest. We will find out, Nolan, how and when you transitioned,
and if it doesn't work out the way, let me also give you this little Black History moment. Mm-hmm. We now know that he is related to Ida B. Wells.
Okay. Wow.
And the story of and we already know why Ida B. Wells is famous, because she was the only one going down there reporting on lynchings. and we already know that this was a lynching.
It wasn't a physical
it wasn't
sense, but it still was.
But it was another form of lynching,
right?
And why? And you know, and that's one of the reasons why he when they did the independent autopsy, right?
Autopsy. Yeah, they still haven't got.
They ain't got the neck.
Right.
The neck was missing from it.
They haven't got all of the other things that they're looking
sad.
into and taking. It is. It
Sad.
really is. It to take this in this country, then and then again, as the show is about tonight, living life in reverse.
Sure.
And and we are honestly technically living life in reverse. I'm not a person, I don't believe in the fact of that history repeating itself, because you can't repeat what has happened. There's similarities of things that went on, but to pinpoint to say history is exactly doing what it's doing, no, because your mindsets are different. The meaning part of things that we've experienced in history is different now. You know what I'm saying? Than what it was then. So you can't really live you can't relive it, but they're fragments of what it seems like is what I'm trying to say.
It's like a Dionne Warwick song and a Luther song. It's still the same song, just a different person singing it and a different beat. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. It's still the same stuff.
Right.
I get a little perturbed when I hear people say, that's the past. We got to get, it bothers me. I hear this from Hispanic people a lot. Man, slavery was so long ago, and I'm going, yeah, but there's still trauma there. Oh, you should be past that because it wasn't you. It wasn't your parents. No, but it was my family. And that trauma is stigmatized, passes on. It doesn't just disappear because that was 200 years ago. When you look at if you looked at your great grandparents and somebody murdered them and mutilated them, would you be like, oh, I'm okay, that was them, I'm past? No, you'd be saying, I'm affected because that's my family, that's my genealogy. How do I sit back and just be comfortable with the fact that you've done something detrimental to my family? You can never do that. And I tell this to people all the time. PTSD has been a factor since the early 1400s. You had children sitting out watching people be beheaded. You had people sitting out front like it was a basketball game, watching people hung and whipped. So you can't think that stuff doesn't traumatize you and carry on. The stigma moves on with you.
It pisses me off that anybody human would tell somebody else how to think and what to and how to get and what to get over. My thing is, at the end of the day, that is the most insensitive thing to tell anybody, because I wouldn't tell you if your people came over here through some form of trauma to get over it. And that what boggles my spirit about anything, that if you were to say, well, this happened with me, and somebody was to come around and say, well, you know what, I think that was in the past, you just need to get over it. No. That is you. That is not me. That's not me. But that's historic. That for me is insensitive historically to my people, because I never told y'all to get over what y'all been going on with. You know what I'm trying to get? I have never told y'all to get over anything. But that is wait a minute, hold on. That is what I call the assimilation.
Yes.
Of the American dream, that a lot of these people who come over from different parts of the world, they come over here with close to white proximity, whatever you want to call it, whatever. It's still assimilation. It's still assimilation. They want to believe that, you know what, this is America. All things are possible. I wish that was the case, because I always having to tell people, in this country, people have nuances that they have to live with, unique nuances that they have to live with, and they have to deal with. What you might can get away with, I can get away with it.
Yes.
What you might can say, I can't say that. What you might can wear, I cannot wear that. That's why I have a beef with Black Americans who love to keep the back door open when it comes down to our issues within the house. And then you like to spread this N-word out for other people to use, knowing that was never supposed to be used outside of house. I have an issue with that.
It shouldn't have been used.
It should have never been used. It should have never been even said outside of house.
Right.
But that is the situation that we're in as a community, because
I agree with you totally. Because you know why? Look at women. Women call each other the B word, like it's endearing. And I'm like, But let a man call you that, and you be like, "What you say?"
Right.
And I tell this, it's like I tell some of my black friends who go, "Man, I had a dude tell me a couple of weeks ago, man, I value ICE. ICE is keeping them out of our country." I'm like, bruh, those people the same as you were, trying to fight for a better living. They're not coming in here trying to go, well, I just want to get welfare and have babies and can collect a check. No, they come in, they worked in the fields. I have to give my props to the indigenous and the immigrants who come in and work those fields. You know what it takes to work in them damn orange and cotton and sugar cane and all that. Man, that is not no easy work. So for you to come in and do that,
they're not going to do it. I mean, you
we're
can call
not
it
going
black.
back to sharecropping.
No, but
we're not going back to sharecropping.
No. Hold on. But the point is that what I was kind of agreeing with Charles is that to make that kind of a statement, because you're certainly not going to get out there and do not you, but I mean, you're not going to get out there and do the work. So stop pointing the finger at other people. You know, like me, please, really, we've gone beyond that. You know, at the end of the day, so we're not going to do that. You know, but you know, and I think realistically, we again, this is what I said, living life in reverse. This is a reverse moment. You know, this is a reverse moment to really look at. It may not be what we anticipate, or is it fair or where we are at this particular point in time? But yet still we're not where we could be at this point. You know what I'm saying? And on both perspectives, you know, and what, as you say, collectively is that because of this realm of conversation and open conversation that we can have with one another, why are we not strategizing against this type of behavior coming in us again, so that we won't be the one that's in the field? Why are we not having that kind of conversation? Because you know why? You know why? Because we got pastors doing what they ain't got no business doing. You got people of color worrying about who they sleeping with and why they sleeping with them. You know what I'm saying? And things that are, and then we're into this other area of this total disrespect of one another coming from a certain community, you know, and we've perpetuated that and made that music, you know, and then we want to get celebrated in this music, but the music doesn't even celebrate us. It's nothing about the music that celebrates us. It doesn't celebrate a culture. It celebrates a habit and a movement, not even a movement. You know, it celebrates a part of people that look like us, their behaviors.
Spin that and keep it quiet on the creek.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the hell is that? You know,
pretty much. You see what I'm saying? And that, again, that opens up another Pandora's box, because you sit back on any given day, and like even today, I was like, you know, stuff just pops up on the algorithm. You watch it one time, it's going to send you all kind of videos, you know, that pertain to that particular point thing. But I didn't even watch that much of it today. But every time I get on there now, I'm seeing people like on these fight videos. Okay, we become the fight video now. We better than WCW. You know what I mean? In every situation, we're fighting the worker that has to come to work to a KFC or a McDonald's or a Wendy's or whatever. We're fighting the worker. We're showing our ass in Walmart because somebody bumped our cart, or somebody didn't know that I was in line and came in front of me because I'm running my mouth, calling somebody else, like you said, a bitch in the other line, or I'm talking to my bitch. I'm on the phone, my bitch, girl, bitch, on the phone, and somebody moves in front of me, and then you won't get loud with that person got in front of you because you on the phone with your bitch.
But that's a lot of suppressed anger. That's what that is, because there's so much going on, you know.
Right. You know, I understand that, but in where it comes from, but yet and still, we've got to find a way to start managing this anger, you know, and directing it into areas that will elevate and liberate us. But what?
Good luck.
I know.
Good luck.
I know what you're saying.
TV programming has kind of messed that up, because you have now for years now that you have reality shows that perpetuate that cycle, promoted, and they.
But look who's in charge.
Look
who's in charge. Look who's running these things. Paramount and Warner Brothers are trying to merge. Why? Because they want to take over the doggone news media and control what the narrative is.
Absolutely.
You know, we were speaking about this earlier. I think I said, I told you, I said, man, I'm so disappointed and so burned out from hearing men don't like women.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yet women don't like men. So why are we
yeah.
doing it? And everything on my timeline is how men this and men that. And then I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but these punk ass men that go, well, women go through this. Well, damn it, men go through it too. I'm so sick of hearing that. It's like nobody understands that each other is dealing with the same shit. It's just a different
Yeah.
gender. We too
See,
busy worried about me, I.
this is why that you and I collectively, and then my wonderful husband for the past 13 years have been so deeply involved. But this is the conversation that you and I had, Charles, over almost 16 years ago when we were, and I'm getting emotional, but when we really focused in trying to develop a conversation piece on network television that men would have a voice. But men don't have a voice on this level. What about it? The View keeps viewing and keeps renewing. And again, I like most of the time the View comes about with certain elements of things that are. But where is the male voice? Where is the male voice speaking to this? This is what you and I started, the truth behind the truth, a semblance of what Charles and I worked on together 16 years ago. You know what I mean? Where is it that this message that the truth behind the truth has been going 6 years?
It's like MAGA. The small voices are. It's like MAGA. The small voices, because every man is not a deadbeat dad. Every man is not a damn gigolo. Every man is not a cheat. But it's like the MAGA. That small voice is so magnified. We take the negative and blow it up, and now it looks like a monolith.
Well, yeah, true, but in the bigger scope of things is that you'd be surprised, and I deal with this every day. We really got to go because we're gonna get too deep. Somewhere it's just built, and I'm just gonna say men in general, not just men of color, but men in general. Somewhere down the line, this picture has been perpetually painted that we don't know anything. We know nothing. We don't have emotions. We don't care. We don't love. We don't have a deeper. We don't have a sensitive part about us. I mean, I deal with it at work every day. I have to tell people, these men that come in my store, and they say to me, well, you don't know nothing about decorating. Nigga, that's what I want to say that word. Get the hell out of my damn face. Who the hell did you think that make this damn furniture in the first place? Who do you think designed this damn furniture in the first place? Who do you think designed the clothes that you wear on your back, whether they're ugly or not? Men.
They might be gay, but
I ain't talking gender wise. I'm just talking about men. And it doesn't have to. And it doesn't have to be with gender. Okay,
sexuality.
Sexuality. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. Men that like men don't make clothes specifically just because they like men.
No, it's not that.
No,
it's not.
It is not.
But that's within the patriarchal system. That's what we are to believe.
Yeah,
we're not supposed to be whimsical. We're not supposed to be artistic.
We're
not supposed to be soft.
My point is that doesn't bring about a softness. That doesn't make you soft, but the interpretation of that tries to make you become soft.
Who controls the society that we live in?
My point exactly. So this is what, and I'm gonna say this to us collectively, because we are the ones that at least have a voice that has been somewhat recognized. I don't know where and I don't know how, but we have had a consistent voice. The three of us have had a consistent voice. We've had a consistent voice, and going into 7, like I was saying the other day, it's going to be something totally different. And maybe it's our time. Maybe the fact that nobody out there, Charles, can ever pull back in retrospect and look at what we've accomplished. We got shows on the road, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can do that. Who does that? Who has the quality and the substance in conversation pieces with diverse groups of people?
I tell you what will stop all of this craziness is that we stop boxing people in and putting them into categories. You know what I'm trying to get at? Too. I wish people would understand that we all do not come into this world on a straight and narrow path.
Nobody does.
Yes.
Nobody does. I have to tell people all the time, I can never say never to whatever. Like, for example, I could never marry a woman. How will I know if I could never marry a woman? You wouldn't know of the circumstances of me having to marry one.
Right.
Yeah. So, you have to think about, if people will understand that this human life that we have, a human existence that we have to live, we are not always wired or geared to just be what society would want us to be on a day-to-day, trying to get out. All of us are wired differently. So what if you might like pink? You might like lavender colors as a man, or you might like to wear pastel colors, or you might like ice skating. You might see, the thing about society is you got a bunch of degenerates.
Yes.
And I'm gonna call them what I call them, degenerates, who like to put out there in the algorithm, I want my man to be tough. I want my woman to look like this. I want my man to be this. I want my woman to be this. Why are you so worried about why are you telling us your wants, number one? Why should it even matter? Why should we even care? Why should I even be so goddamn invested in what you got going on?
Absolutely.
My life is totally uniquely different.
Can I tag in?
What you say, Charles?
Can I tag in? Can I tag in on that sermon right there? Let me tag in. I am so sick of people going, I'm a Scorpio, but he's a Aries. And Aries, I'm a damn Aries, but damn it, I don't act like everybody else. Yeah, but when you do that right there, that's Aries. Man, everybody in the world do the same thing. Who gives a damn what your solar sign is? I'm an Aquarius. I do this, and we all this because you a Sagittarius. Man, get off that shit. Everybody's a person. Individuals. That kills me when I hear that crap. Well, I knew a Gemini. I knew he's gonna be two-faced. No, he two-faced because he two-faced. Ain't because he's a Gemini. He's just a two-faced person. That's all it is. Well, I know
what controls the conversation. We always wanting to box people through zodiac signs, through genders, through sexualities, through all. I just wish people would just be goddamn. Okay, so what if you're not fluid in your life? So what? You will not eat seafood, or you cannot eat meats. I'm sorry, that is not everybody, but keep living your life the way you would want to live your life and stop trying to jail people because of the fact that they're not living your life. That is where this conversation will end and stop, is the fact that people will rather put a person in jail because they don't have the beliefs that I have.
Right.
And that is a problem. Yeah. That is the biggest problem. That's why marriages don't work. I always tell people marriages are going to always be different because it comes through communication at the end of the day. You know you don't want this and that in your marriage, and you know that's not the type of marriage you would want. Don't marry the goddamn person. Yeah. But if you want this in your marriage, find somebody who wants the same thing, and it will work. If you want extra people in your marriage, find somebody who wants extra people in their marriage.
But then, that's a growth process. That's growth. You have to understand who you are as an individual and where you want to be. Because a lot of us have a perspective in the beginning. I know I did. I love independent, strong, intelligent Black women or women, period. And then I found all these strong, intelligent women, and they want to be my boss. I'm like, well, we can't just be a partner. But you need this. And I'm like, well, damn it. Shut the hell up. Oh, you going to be a man and tell me, well, if you ain't going to let me talk, then damn it, how we going to make this work? Well, every man I know, he this, but that ain't me. I comb hair. I braid. I fucking do dishes. I wash clothes. I do damn house cleaning. I clean toilets. Damn it. Stop telling me what. I'm tired of all them little hairs in the sink. I don't leave little hairs in the sink because I don't even like that crap. So stop telling me what men do because that ain't me.
Right. I hear you. In season 7, we want to have to pull out we want to have to do another relationship show. You know what I mean? On today's culture of relationship, and then really kind of hopefully expose some of this stuff because and break down these narratives because nobody's doing it. I mean, as far as I see, we're talking about all this other bullshit that's out there, but we ain't talking about things that breaking down these narratives, to help people. But and understanding, like you say, Charles, all the time, relationships are relationships. Doesn't matter who you in that relationship with. At the end of the day, because they want to say, well, that's just a gay relationship. That's how gay people like. Well, that's how half straight people like. That's how bi people like. That's how this group of people like this.
But it does put in perspective about people. They have there is always this thing within the Black community about Will and Jada's marriage. And this is what makes me laugh. Like, how could she be with this man? And how could he be with this woman? But then there's a communication thing that people do not care to think about. They probably do know that their marriage is unorthodox. They know they do.
Knew from the beginning.
They knew from the very beginning. They knew that their marriage was not based on the superficial, whatever you want to call the morality, the Puritan, the whatever you want to call marriage to be. This is why they can be incohesive with each other, but probably they don't live in the same house. but they like this. But who business it is? The saddest, the thing is, at least they can be in the same room with each other and not having to fight each other. Now, that's what I see.
Right, well, yeah.
You know what the word is?
From a distance. And I have respect for
commitment.
That's
It's
what it's
called
called.
commitment. Are you committed to this relationship? If you're committed, then you'll accept what we give each other. It's commitment. Too many people aren't committed. It's like, well, if I ain't getting that, I ain't. No, are you committed to me and you running this whole gamut? Are you committed? If you are, we'll figure it out.
And on that point, this will be a continuity. We will pick we'll pick this up in season 7. Right? So, because there's a lot to unpack. We'll pick it up in season 7. We're gonna move on. So this little quick before we bring it to this, I thought this was an interesting quick rundown by a Caucasian gentleman. He was just kind of showing mega people about the consistency of how life changes under a Democratic administration, and it's always good to hear that from that perspective, because when we say it, people don't pay attention. No. So we've been saying it for the longest period of time, but they don't want to pay attention to us. But here he is.
All right, Trumpers. Well, have you ever come outside and walked around barefooted after it's got done raining? Well, I have. But needless to say, here, I got something good for you guys. Just was looking at some data on this, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So when Clinton was in office, everything was rolling pretty good, okay? They had created about 10 million jobs back then. Everything was great. Bush took over, run us into a recession because he didn't know how to handle the war in Afghanistan, gave Obama a failing economy. Obama created 16 million jobs, pulled us out of a hole, another Democrat. Then we hand it from Obama down to Donald Trump. Donald Trump runs it in the ground, has us a failing economy, didn't know how to handle COVID, was just a train wreck of a disaster. Then we hand it to Biden. Biden makes us another 20 million jobs, gets us out of COVID, gets us out of a vaccine, gets the world back moving. Now we hand it back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump runs it in the ground again, shoots inflation up, gets us in a war, makes gas prices go up, lies to get into office so we can avoid prison. Do you notice what everything that I just said had in common? The Democrats always save us. When is the Republicans going to wake up and see this? That the Democrats always have to save what the Republicans done. Don't get mad at me, folks. Go look at history. And you Republicans, quit worrying about that LGBTQ and that abortion stuff. Move that shit to the side. Start looking at what drives this country and what drives this economy. Quit being a pansy about that stuff, especially you big MAGA guys. Quit being little P words about it, okay? MAGAs, come and get me.
I like that guy. I really like that guy.
There you go. Want to say hey to our daughter-in-law. Hey, Stacey, thank you for watching tonight. Thank you for your input, and thank you for appreciate you taking the time on that. Tell your husband he needs to be right beside you. Watch this show. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that now.
But that's why you should be political. You should never be apolitical at all. That's why I don't understand how people can say I don't dibble dabble in politics. You should dibble dabble in politics,
right?
Because when you get that paycheck from whoever you work from, that's political.
Right.
Your money is political. That's why I don't understand how anybody can walk into a Wendy's and McDonald's and want to cuss out somebody over food. Get your money. Take your power with you.
But they don't have power. That's why they want. They don't have power. That's why they want to execute power on somebody. That's why they want to snatch somebody across the counter. Because the French fries, the fry was cold. One fry was cold. I'm being facetious.
But going
or you had to put the ketchup in one fry. Or the ketchup.
I want pickles.
But see, the thing about what he just said, I wish more people would understand that who's working for you and who's not working for you. That's why I don't quite understand how anybody will want to vote a Republican House and Republican Senate or anything when they have not been working for the. Okay, they have not been working for the working class man for years.
It's like how we started out the show earlier.
There is an agenda.
Yeah,
it's dividing and conquering the situation. Like that man said just towards the end of his video, get out of the LGBT and the abortion talking point, because that's not paying your bills.
Right.
If you cannot pay your rent in these times,
it promotes my agenda.
If you cannot afford gas and if you cannot afford groceries,
my agenda.
Hey,
it's
$1 million agenda.
Right.
Because who's making the money behind all of these agendas? A rich man.
Right.
And he's part of the Heritage Foundation.
Like you just said, I can't go to the grocery store like I want to. I can't put gas in my car. But you're pushing my agenda, damn it.
That's right.
You're bringing that Christian agenda back to America. That's right. That's what's important. My agenda. I don't want my agenda.
And can't pay your bills.
But I'm getting my agenda across.
pay rent.
Wow.
Lyndon B. Johnson said it best. If you can teach the poorest white man that he's better than the best black man, you can pick his pockets.
Wow.
And that is so true. And
Wow.
this is one thing that I've learned throughout the years. And this came from my family. If we don't love each other, we're never going to get anywhere.
Automatically goes back to that.
Well, it goes back to the black community too, because if we don't learn how to cohesive.
Well, learn to be cohesive.
That's right. I always say cohesive.
Yeah,
But if we don't learn how to love each other and be around and learn how to get along with each other, we're going to fall behind too as a people, because at the end of the day, we already know with everything that's now going on, what's the deal. Now, if you want to stay in the closet about everything and want to live colorblind, that's on you. Just know what you're having to deal with and what you're going to have to put up with, microaggressions. But the saddest thing about it is, though, we need to understand that we are all we have at the end of the day. And yes, economically, that helps us out as a people. Because if we didn't learn from the situation with Mr. Child, remember the Asian man that shot the old dude in the back?
Yeah.
If we don't learn how to take our dollars, our power, and spread it amongst each other as a people, then at the end of the day, yes, everybody has what they can say about us. At the end of the day.
Here's the thing with this, and we'll wrap it up with this. To your point, and support. We have this back part on our back of my hand to support black business, okay, quote unquote. That's just like the buzzword, okay, that's going around or whatever. You have more people outside of the race wanting to support black business than you do inside the race. Okay, I mean, seriously, you really do. I mean, you have a lot of people that are seeking out black business. Because of the quality, because of the excellence, because of the things that go into it. But my thing is that, and I tell people that come in my store all the time, I said, let me share something with you guys. I said, supporting black business doesn't mean you're going to a specific part of town. Okay. Yeah. It is where you are at the time that you can service the person in front of you and provide them either goods and service or buy something from them to promote that particular point. So what I do for you here is because I recognize who I am in front of me. So just like the other people groups that are in this, realm that they are, when they go, Buenos Dias.
That's right. They do that.
Okay. Buenos Dias. Okay. And I'm gonna go, what's up, brother?
Stop in.
And I'm not throwing any shade against them, but at the end of the day, is that when this Diaz comes in, they need to be at the store, and they will acknowledge each other, and they will find a better way to give each other some sort of discount, help, whatever involved.
They do.
You know what? And this is no shade. I hate to say this because I just came from Chicago. This is no shade on black people. Okay. But if we don't take over the businesses in our community, how can we complain about who does?
Well,
I say the same thing.
That was the word for the night.
I say the same thing.
That is what we have summed it up, Charles. Living life in reverse. Okay? That's what we do. That's why we live life in reverse.
If the Nation of Islam can do it, why can't we?
Yeah, well.
They find a way to build businesses too, and it's connected to either church or to whatever that they're doing. Why can't we?
Well, it's leadership. Yeah, I don't agree with all what he says in leadership, but he does execute leadership.
That's right.
And honestly, as a whole, I didn't want to go this route, but as a whole, which was dictating our leadership, it doesn't dictate our leadership anymore. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because you can't go to that place, that four-wall place that we like to have an agenda for, and get direction in leadership. You can't go there anymore. I guess it was an article that you might see me some time ago online. Here's the thing. There's another pastor. I'm going to bring these two of them. We got to close. One, this is probably just hit my eyes around again. But so this pastor gets set down, get called out, gets put in jail because he's been sending naked pictures of himself to this 14-year-old or this teenage boy. Okay. First thing we do, like, man, why he doing that? As a pastor, why he doing, man, don't he know better than that? First thing, we need to hold ourselves responsible, number one, why he has to go that route. And I'm not just believe me, I am not justifying. Okay, you know why he goes that route? Because he doesn't have the relax and the freedom and the acceptance in a culture that he can be free and in that aspect and not even have to go that route to bringing a boy in the course. He's picking on a pray that he doesn't have to have that pushback from. You don't have to worry about that pushback from. And then that young kid will just go on with the flow.
Or he's just grooming.
Or it could be deeper than that, but I didn't want to go that deep. Okay,
I know,
but I'm just saying, it's just the fact that when you find people act out certain behaviors, there's a reason why they act out. Now, some of them do have some issues.
But could he find somebody his own age?
But here's again, he can't appear with somebody. It's because he's a pastor of church, so he can't be found out with no gay man.
But
if
he
that's
could
the
find
case,
somebody his own age from out of state.
Well.
There's ways to go about doing things. Why would you have to stoop to go to a 14-year-old? Why didn't you got all of this?
Apparently, hold on. Wait a minute. Apparently, that this young person was giving signs. Okay, and I'm being very delicate. Okay, and giving signs to this older pastor. This after the pastor probably went to place. The young boy was there and. Maybe wait, at this age and this time, kids they be going after anything that's possible. But anyway, we ain't gonna dig into that. All right. All I'm just saying is that with all that is out there, all the availability of male counterparts that are out there, man, you ain't gotta go that route. Okay. Whether they accept you in your church or not, that's something else you got to deal with. Get the educate, teaching right.
The children alone.
Absolutely. Last one. Exactly. Last one. Is this big one that I put a big article about this on this guy on Instagram. This pastor was saying that you had to pay a certain amount of money to get in his choir. Stop with the madness. Black people, black men, black preachers. Stop. That's why you ain't got nobody in church right now. That's why you're trying to charge people to come join the damn choir. Shut your mouth up. Teach the word that is relevant to people's lives and stop trying to create stuff. When you create stuff, you get exposed. At the end of the day, a lie will only travel as far as it's supposed to go. All right? So, anyway, that's the word for tonight. A lie will only go as far as that was sent out to do. Okay? As far as it's supposed to go at that point in time. If it goes on further, that means you carry that lie on even further. All right. We love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Truth tonight. It has been fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Y'all has enjoyed it. Charles has enjoyed our conversation tonight. We'll see you right back here again next week, same time. All right? And go out and love somebody. All right? And out of all of what we talked about, it's like Charles said in the end, it is a cohesive balance that we need all to be fighting for. We're not living life in reverse. There are pockets of things that we do in reverse, and we got to ask ourselves the question: why are we going in reverse in that area? But right now we should be living life fast forward and finding somebody every day that love on somebody. Women, stop calling each other bitches. Black men, stop calling each other niggers. Please stop. Just stop. Okay, just stop. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you again next week here on what? The truth behind the truth. Bye now.
Bye.